process right now, Don, of filing for a waiver for potential immediate eligibility. If he gets it, he would have 2.
Any anticipated timeline on when you might know?
No. A lot going.
Who stood out to you in the last few practices since the last time we talked to you? Who has helped themselves the most individually?
I hate this question.
Or as a position group?
Or what?
Or as a position group?
Oh. Well, you know, today was the first day with. What did he say?
What'd you say, Don?
I just said who has helped themselves the most in the last few practices?
Yeah, no, I need to think. Yeah, Jalen Polk stood out today. He made some nice catches. You know, the young wideouts are talented. All 4 freshmen. Those guys, I mean, we've had 17 practices now with the helmets and OTAs and half pads. They continue to do a nice job. You know, I think kind of reserve the right to make a comment here in a couple days, maybe 2 or 3 more days on the O-line, the D-line, just because of the shoulder pads just now coming on. You know, Eric Monroe is very mature in the back end. Cam Watts, I'm thinking of the newcomers. Adrian Fry continues to impress me. He made another play today, really nice pick today. Alex Hogan's doing a nice job. Those are the guys probably catching my eye right now. And notice that they were skill guys that I'd mentioned, because a lot more of these practices are geared towards those guys just because of the nature of how much we have on for right now. So a couple more days, I think we'll have a better idea with the backers and the O-line, D-line.
Go to Jarrett Johnson.
Hey, Coach, how you doing?
Hey, Jarrett.
Hey, how are the quarterbacks looking? Can you kind of break down how they've been throwing in camp so far?
Yeah, Allen's in the lead, very confident, further along in the offense, really, than he's ever been, which we knew it takes reps in this offense. Maverick's been sharp at times, needs some more consistency. Henry doesn't have as many reps, you know. We'll see if he has the waiver or not, and really, if he does get it, then that'll allow Coach Yost to give him a few more reps to see right where Henry is. But he's had reps in this offense, obviously, for a couple of years. And then the young guys are still the young guys right now. But, you know, I think Maverick has got to continue to, you know, understand that there's a sense of urgency all the time, and he needs to make ground up. And we're talking about a competition. So, you know, he wants more reps. You have to earn those reps. It's up to Allen to continue to keep a lead on the job and earn his reps. And I know that's how Coach Yost puts it. It's a good way to put it. Those guys are always earning more reps, or the other guy's kind of giving them away, one or the other.
What about the specialists as well? How have they looked so far? Of course, you returned some great kickers, but who all's in line as well for the return spots too?
Yeah, the return spots, you know, we haven't done a lot of team punt return and team kickoff return. It's been a lot more individual related, but, you know, the punt returners are going to be Chooks, Adrian Fry, Zach McPherson. We're trying out Miles Price. Miles is dangerous with the ball in his hands. That kid can go. Kickoff returns, of course, you got Keyshawn, who we know has elite speed. We're going to look at Shadarius Townsend back there, Miles Price as well. You know, Chooks is back there some. Caden Leggett is back there. So we've got a decent amount of guys. We just haven't done a ton of team back there, and that's kind of coming into next week's part of training camp.
Go to Eric Kelly.
Coach, a name that's been brought up a lot has been John Holcomb so far from camp. I know David Yost called him kind of a surprise because y'all haven't really seen him in person before. What stood out about him so far?
that he doesn't make any big mistakes, any catastrophes. He kind of knows what to do. He doesn't get yelled at a whole lot for being in the wrong spot. And when I say that, we're playing fast and we're lining up fast. And the two guys that have to adjust the most are the tight end and the H in this offense. And John's smart. He's tough. He can run. He can catch. The jury is how well can he hang in the run game and remains to be seen. But John's done a nice job and really he's kind of steady. He's kind of an old hand steady, even though he's, 17 years old, 18. And his consistency, I think, has made him a little bit of a surprise for us.
Go to
A lot of people have been impressed with Adrian so far. Obviously, we've seen what he can do at cornerback. Moving him back to corner, was that just how he fit into the defense at this point, or was there one reason individually that you made that decision?
No, I wanted to move him back to get his confidence back. I think he's a little bit more natural at corner. He's a talented athlete that can play multiple spots. There's no question back there. But we also, it's done also in an attempt to get our better players on the field. And the top 5 DBs are going to play, and KP and DJ will put those guys in different spots. And certainly Adrian can go back and play the cover safety. Zach McPherson is playing safety, as well as our nickel corner and spur. DeMarcus Fields is actually getting some work back at corner this week. We're cross-training a lot of those guys. Dadrion Taylor's kind of been out at corner the last few days and looked pretty natural. Dadrion's a really good athlete. Oftentimes you do see high school tailbacks move into corner, but Dadrion's a guy that can play multiple spots back there. I think we're going to need that. You're going to need it this season because of the corona and close contacts and quarantine and all that kind of stuff. And so there may be a week or two that some guys may need to go play a different position. And so I think that'll make us a little bit more versatile back there.
go to Brandon Solis.
Hey, Coach, I don't know if you asked last time, but TJ Masher, just is he back on practice? I know you mentioned he was going to take that weekend off. Just kind of how he's progressed.
Yeah, he's still out right now taking care of academics.
Okay, awesome. And then I wanted to ask about Loic Fungi as well specifically. I
Yeah.
know you mentioned a lot of those leagues. I see you smiling now. What do you kind of like about him, how he fits in your offense?
Loic's got a bright future. He's extremely smart. He's a driven young man. He's been great family, great mom and dad, brother and sister here at Tech Legacy. Tremendous high school program in Midland Lee. And Coach Hartman and those guys do a great job. He's very well coached. He's tough. He's tough-minded. He's a two-way player. He's a multiple sport athlete, track, soccer. He's just steady. He's constant. He's a little bit of an old soul. I mean, that's just I respect him. I love the kid to death. He's going to be a really, really good Red Raider. And I seen him playing this year as a freshman. How much, what kind of role, we'll see. There's 3 more weeks left, and so that's up to Loic to define that role, but I truly think he'll play this year as a freshman.
Go to David Collier.
Hey, Coach. Kind of a schedule question, I guess. You kind of mentioned shoulder pads there. What's the timeline with you guys getting into full pads and everything? I know we had asked you about stuff last week. I didn't know how that's progressed.
Yeah, we'll be in shells again tomorrow, full pads on Wednesday, shells on Friday, full scrimmage Saturday morning.
Go
Are
to
you looking to get out of that first scrimmage over the weekend? I know we might talk to you before then, but just in case.
Yeah, I think some good live reps in the stadium. I start working the live rep count for our older guys. I think the young guys, coaches off the field, headsets on, real referees, a little bit different than practice. Who can play in the limelight? Well, I don't know about the limelight. Won't be very many people in the stands. Maybe kind of like this year, huh? We ought to be able to get a good gauge on who can play with not very many people there. But we'll probably go about 90 reps, which I think will be a good gauge for where we're at, and we'll get some good evaluations out of it.
go go back to, I believe Don Williams probably has a question.
Hey man, following up on Basher for a moment, so has he not been on the field at all yet?
Yeah, he's been out for some of the walkthroughs early on, Don.
Is there any concern with him as his eligibility?
He needs to take care of his academics just like everybody else.
And I was gonna ask you about kind of how the outside receivers are stacking up right now. You got him, you got Easy, you have Seth Collins. Is Seth working at X? I remember that's where he was last spring.
Seth can play X and Z both, Don. Heck, he can move inside, really. And he's been in Luke Wells' meeting room earlier this spring. But we have him outside now. He's doing well. We just got to keep Seth healthy. I want to keep him healthy and watch him play. He's got a lot of emotion. He plays the game the right way. He's a veteran. I really want to get him to the season, and hopefully we keep him healthy. Eric Ezekama is going to have a really good sophomore year. He's steady. You know, we talked about the freshmen. I've already talked about Loic. J.J. Sparkman has a lot of competitiveness, and quite frankly, honestly, I don't mind saying it, more than I thought. And that's not because I thought he had a low amount by any means, but he's surprised me. He has picked it up very well. Another guy that has been coached hard and coached well, Pine Tree High School, East Texas, another beast. We're starting a little bit of East Texas connection. You know, Pokes from Lufkin, and then Miles Price from the Colony. You know, the inside receiver. Those four freshmen are, you know, we keep talking about them, which means they're not disappointing. And so they're doing well. Keyshawn Carter's had a really good camp. I'm really excited. He's picked up where he left off at the end of the Texas game. He's inside, could go right outside. In fact, a couple guys got tired the other day. He jumped right outside and took a rep at outside because he knows it. And so, you know, Rigdon, Mannix. Mannix is just kind of nursing a little bit of an injury right now here for a couple days, but he'll be back hopefully by the end of the week. But, no, I'm happy with the receivers.
So who is, when you say not there, who is getting the 1 reps at Z?
Well, Don, we rotate, so not just one. There's not just two guys or one guy gets it at Z. Trey Cleveland's taking reps out there. Loic, JJ, all those guys have been at Z. And then the X is Easy, Seth, Caden Leggett, Polk. You know, sometimes Polk runs with the ones. Joel does it. Coach Filani does a really good job of rotating those guys through. And if you guys remember, we played 4 or 5 receivers every game last year, and then they're going to earn their reps and earn their role. And you know, we may end up settling on 4 guys. So we'll see.
Go to John Sokoloff.
Hey, Matt, how's it going? I was just going to ask about the offensive line, specifically Jack Anderson. Would you say he's kind of like extra motivated, especially coming off injury and really has lots of prove this year, especially as an NFL draft prospect? And what have you kind of seen from him?
Yeah, I've seen good things out of Jack. He's mature. He's smart. He studies the game. He's a football junkie. Takes care of his body, rest, sleep, all that kind of stuff. He really cares. You know, he wants to be a great player here at Texas Tech. He wants to be an all-league player. He wants to play in the NFL. I certainly believe everything that he wants to do is in his future. I really do. He can play either guard spot. He's played center. He's played more center, really, in this camp than he did a year ago. That will only help us and him being versatile. But, you know, Jack, I've been very pleased with Jack.
What about the rest of the offensive line, just kind of in general, losing guys like Terrence and Travis? Those are big guys to lose. How have you seen the line progress so far in camp? I know it's still relatively early.
Well, like I said earlier, we'll know a little bit more about the line in a few more days once you start hitting for several days in a row here at the end of this week. But, you know, certainly you return Dawson and Weston Wright and Jack. And so those 3 guys in the middle give you a veteran presence, and they've got reps and a lot of starts in this league. And then I think you got some guys battling, you know, Zach Adams, Josh Berger, Landon Peterson, who else outside? Will Farah, you know, Ethan Card. is doing a nice job. And then really the one freshman that's, I guess, a little bit of a surprise because you don't expect true freshmen to be in that mix is Caleb Rogers. Caleb Rogers has not disappointed up until this point. He knows what he's doing. He's smart. He studies the game. But again, we'll have a lot better physical evaluation on those guys by the end of this week.
We'll go to Matt Flair, then we'll end with Eric Kelly.
Hey, Coach, wanted to ask about name, image, and likeness. I've started to notice on social media accounts the players are being tagged in photos, and I know on the website they've got some Players Tribune type of articles. I just wanted to ask you as the head coach, with that being sort of a newer thing, there's a lot of talented people behind the scenes that are doing some of that, but how much does that hit your radar, if at all? And is it something that you discuss with players and others to do topic?
Yeah, it's certainly coming into play, and I think we're all for it and we support it. Our sports information team, our what's your fancy name? What's y'all's name? Huh? Social media videographers. We got a lot of talented people behind the scenes in our athletic department that really, I think, do a great job of highlighting our players, whether it's through graphic design, it's through pictures, it's through the videography, the videos they're making, and help our players tell their story. And that's their job behind the scenes. They do an excellent job. They get to know our players, and they really do a good job of really bringing out, I think, the person behind the face mask and the jersey number, and they do a good job of telling their story, and I think that's important for our program, and I think it's important for our fans because football is a difficult sport to get to know your players just because of all the gear and the face masks and all that. It's different than basketball where you feel a lot more up close to them, and so our sports information department and all the people that are behind the scenes in terms of that do a great job.
Go to Eric Kelly to finish this off.
Coach, two more for
You got a guy in the
First
lower
one,
left that's pissed at you.
Running back, it seemed like it's a kind of cluster behind Roderick, maybe because guys either haven't been in spring camp or maybe getting used to the position. Has someone stood out in any way, shape, or form there?
Yeah, no, but we got good players back there. It is a cluster. It's a good way to look at it. And you know what? I'll let you know on Sunday or Monday. Give me 4 more days in full pads. We got talented guys there, I think, through recruiting and then maybe one personnel move. We've solidified that depth since the season's been over. Taj Brooks does not look like a true freshman back there. Chadarius Townsend's played at Alabama, knows, I think, the speed of the game, and he is a talented young man. And I think the move to running back is going to prove to be good for him, and it's going to, I think, give him some stability in terms of a position. Xavier White was the position move we made in the spring. Those guys right there is a cluster, Eric, and I think that's their job to get out of it and to go chase Sir Roderick for playing time. And again, it's Sir Roderick's job to distance the lead. And I think Sir Roderick can be a really, really good back in this league. I think he's a 1,000-yard back. I think he's a guy that we can saddle up and ride him. And I think he's got bright future. He's had a really good camp. But I certainly do think there are some talented guys behind him that somebody's got to pull out of that mix, and or maybe a couple of them, and we'll play 2. And my guess is that we'll play a few of them early on.
And finally, for you talked about the scrimmage and kind of seeing how guys adjust to not a whole lot of fans in the stands. In terms of the regular season, you guys pride yourselves on running the offense really, really fast. Can you almost increase it with maybe less fans and better communication, less noise, or does that not have as big of an effect as maybe we think it does?
That's 0 effect. None. I played Guns N' Roses. It was a Guns N' Roses remix. Yost's music playlist was on out there today. And, we play it as loud as we can. Bowman keeps telling me to turn it up. And it's, you got to take 4 Advil before practice sometimes. No, that has 0 effect on our offense.
Well, attack every play and just do what I do best, really, is just play fast and play with confidence.
For you, has it been how long does it kind of take you to get used to this new offense as opposed to maybe what you had in Alabama?
Well, this offense, I'm really getting used to. I'm really catching on pretty fast. a lot quicker than Alabama, honestly. But it's going pretty well here.
What makes it a little bit easier? Because obviously it's a fast-paced offense, a lot of plays, and kind of high-powered at times.
Well, basically, Coach Smith, my position coach, he breaks it down pretty simple for me. Like, he knows how I learn. I go out there on the field and just attack it.
And then for you, kind of what made Texas Tech the right spot for you?
The opportunity. Like, I knew they were going to give me the opportunity here to play how I wanted to play. So that's why I chose it.
Go to Don Williams.
Yeah, Darius, when you were looking for another school, were you looking for a school specifically to play running back or a specific position, or just the best opportunity since you can play multiple spots?
Mainly just the opportunity, but I was looking for receiver and basic running back. I was trying to just really see what was best fit for me, and it summed down to running back, honestly, at the end of the day.
And what is it like? What is that process like? You have to make a decision pretty quickly, and to get to know people that I guess you really don't have any connection here when you were at Alabama, correct? You didn't know anybody here, I assume, right?
Oh, no, sir.
So what's it like to kind of have to make a decision quickly and kind of get a feel for people in a short period of time to be comfortable transferring?
Coach Wells, during the process, Coach Wells and just the whole staff, they were like hitting me up like day after day, honestly, and they were just basically showing that they needed me here and would like to work with me. So I just chose it. I just felt like it was going to be home from there.
Who else on the team has been most helpful to you in this transition?
Well, really the whole staff, honestly. But like Sir Roderick and Xavier White, they've been helping me out on the outside of football, like just showing me around, you know what I'm saying? So, like, just getting me comfortable around Lubbock. So
We'll go to Phil Mayer.
he on mute.
Yeah.
Hey, sorry about that. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Yes, sir.
You had pretty smooth picking things up for you. Has there not been any challenges with, virtual meetings or anything like that, or how have you fared with the challenges brought on by COVID-19 as you transfer?
Well, I would say, of course, like the virtual visits and stuff like that, that was a challenge because you really couldn't tell, like, how the campus was, like, just that experience, like me coming from high school, like I got to experience that stuff. But at the end of the day, I was just ready to hear what I need to hear and just to make the decision to where I want to be. So.
Go to Matt Clare.
Hey, Jadarius, good to talk to you again.
Hey.
Wanted to ask, I know, we've been talking about the transfer and we've talked about that before, but, as a guy that's coming in as a grad transfer from a program like Alabama, you've got Eric Monroe from LSU. I assume that some of the guys, whether they're younger or even some of the older guys, have questions for you, or maybe there's, ways that you can be a leader and kind of bring some of that experience to Lubbock. What have you seen there, or what have you been able to, help out with from that perspective?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that? Like, I barely could hear for real, honestly, on that question.
That's okay. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I couldn't hear clearly, but I can, yeah.
Okay. Sorry about that. So, the guy as a grad transfer from Alabama, you guys obviously had a lot of success, won a national title, won a lot of games. How has that experience helped you so far in joining a new program? Have you been able to help some of the younger guys, or you can bring some of that experience to the practice field?
Well, yeah, I would say, my drive, really, that I bring, like, I try to stay focused as possible out here when I'm practicing. And everybody, of course, look at Alabama. It's like, that's the big time school, whatever. But like I try to come with that attitude here and just stay focused.
Go back to Eric Kelly.
Jadarius, when you play running back and wide receiver, how much of that helps you kind of be a guy at running back who can do it all? Not only, the ground attack that you associate with that, but also be able to catch passes out of the backfield. Is that something that you see as a specialty for yourself?
Yeah, I mean, I'm able to work on both things, like be versatile, honestly. Yeah, like the catching part. I mean, in the backfield, like just swing routes and stuff like that, I'm able to catch it because the receiver got great hands and stuff like that. So I feel like it helps out pretty good.
Go to John Sokoloff, and we'll finish with Don Williams.
Hey, Jadarius, how's it
Hey,
going, man? I
what's
just
up?
wanted to ask you, it sounds like a very crowded backfield, as you guys mentioned before. What has the competition kind of been like for you so far with all of those guys?
I mean, everybody's out here grinding. It's competition all day, every day. Really, that's it for real. Everybody's doing their thing for real out here. Great team.
All right, back to Don, who will wrap us up.
Yeah, Shadarius, I was curious what your experiences was, what your experience was like the night of the national championship game against Georgia, where Tua came in and threw the touchdown pass. I believe you were redshirting that year. Were you in uniform that night, or were you on the field?
Well, I was in uniform, but I didn't really play that much. I didn't play that year. I think that was my red shirt year. I think it was. But yeah, I blacked out. I blacked out.
So you don't even remember what that celebration was like then, huh?
No, I ran up on the field and I was wondering. I was in the middle of the field. I was wondering why I was running. I forgot. I totally blacked out.
Since Tua is such I guess one of the most high-profile figures in college football the last few years, what was it like being his teammate?
I mean, he's a positive guy all around. Like, he's always grinding. Like, even like the football hours, outside of football hours, he's always on the field and stuff. So he was a great guy.
And I have to ask you, have you had a chance to sample Texas barbecue yet, and how does it compare to Alabama barbecue?
I haven't yet. I haven't yet. I haven't got a chance to get onto that yet. Yeah, it's all Xavier White's fault.
Well, for me, I just decided to enter the transfer portal, and then from there it was, coaches contacting me through Twitter, mainly through Twitter DMs, and I talked to multiple coaches, and it was all about who I felt comfortable with, So for me, it was me coming here, my relationship with Coach Wells. I felt like we kind of connected because I had played against Utah State while I was at Michigan State, so they had already had seen me play live, and I had played against the coaches and a couple of players also that are here now. So I felt that kind of connection, and I felt comfortable coming here to play for Matt Wells because their success at Utah State as well. So I was just excited about that.
Who were the other schools that you interacted with, or that you considered when you were making that choice? In other words, you chose Texas Tech over who?
I had a couple other Big Ten schools reach out to me. I had a couple of Pac-12. I had a couple of other Big 12 too. So like I had Oklahoma State. I know Utah was talked to me. They were one of the first people to reach out. Purdue. So I had a different selection out of different conferences. But so yeah, they were all scattered out, a bunch of different high-level Power 5 programs.
Go to Eric Kelly.
As a defensive transfer who has schools from every Power 5 interested in him, is there ever that any bit of pause thinking about the Big 12 and the fact that the last thing in the world it's known for most times is defense, or is that maybe something that motivates you even more to change that narrative or go against the guys who are seen as the best offenses in the nation?
Yeah, so for me, like, you know, yeah, the Big 12 is known for a lot of explosive offensive players. But, you know, for me, it was just like, yeah, that is the, you know, kind of thing that I want to bring to Texas Tech. You know, we're talking to Coach KP, you know, we want to bring good defense to the Big 12 and, you know, kind of build that brand here at Texas Tech. So, you know, obviously me being a defensive guy, you know, I bring that pride with me, and that's what I want to kind of create here. So, yeah.
A couple more for you. You mentioned Keith Patterson. He's your position coach. He's your defensive coordinator. What really stands out about him and what makes him so special?
What makes him so special is just, you know, you can really tell that he cares for everybody on the defense, and he brings, you know, an energy, and, you know, he that brings out, you know, the best in you or, you know, in everybody. And, you know, when it's a guy like that, you know, that you trust, you know, you'll just play, you know, as hard as you can and, you know, and trust in, you know, the defense, the scheme, and the staff and everything. So that's one of the things that he brings to the whole team.
Go to Phil Mayer.
Hey, Brandon, so you're a Michigan guy coming from Michigan State. How much of a factor do you expect the Texas Heat to be for you in sort of these early games in the season?
I mean, for me, I try to be, you know, proud of myself as being like a tough guy. So like, I don't try not to let, you know, any elements phase me really, because like I was in Michigan State where it was like super cold. So, you know, here it's gonna be hot. You know, it's just like whatever to me. So, you know, I just try not to let the heat or the cold or, you know, any elements of weather or something like that, you know, get to me. But I just feel like I've been asked that before, and I just think of it as like the heat here is equivalent to like the cold as where I was at like before. So it's just like I played in, you know, weather elements. So yeah.
One more. So with spring practice getting cut short, and then obviously some challenges brought on by COVID-19 with virtual meetings and such, do you feel like you're totally caught up, or has that been a little challenging to do so?
I mean, it's been a little challenging, but I mean, technology now, I mean, we've been able to, you know, get most of the things that we need to, you know, get done, you know, from, you know, the film standpoint, you know, pretty good. Not as good as, you know, being in person for that period of time, but now that we're, you know, back, you know, we're coming along pretty good. And so I'll just say we're in pretty good shape right now.
Go to Jarrett Johnson.
Hey, Brandon, how you doing?
What's up? I'm doing pretty good. How about you?
All right. Hey, if I remember right, you were in non-contact in spring. Just wanted to see how you're feeling health-wise.
Oh, I'm feeling great. I feel 100%. I'm back to my normal self. I spent, you know, most of the spring in here with getting my body right with Drew, our head athletic trainer, and you know, I feel great now, so I'm ready to go.
And you're working primarily at Raider, is that correct?
Yes, sir. The Raider backer is where I'm at.
What do you think of that position?
I actually like it a lot. I'm sorry. What was you? Go ahead.
I'm just making sure you heard the question. Just what do you bring to the position?
Oh, yeah, I like the Raider spot a lot because, you know, I've gotten the Raider is kind of versatile, or is really versatile actually, and I feel like that's the type of player I am. So, you know, I get the opportunity to show like a lot of different things, covering into the field, coming down and coming to the boundary, playing on the line of scrimmage, and doing so many different things. And that's part of the reason why I think coming to Texas Tech was a great decision for me, because I feel like this is the perfect, scheme. Playing in KP's system is perfect for me. So I really like the Raider position, and yeah.
All right, we will go to Eric Kelly, then back to Don Williams to finish this off.
And is there another linebacker who's kind of helped you in terms of being able to lean on when you have questions or getting adjusted to this defense?
Yeah, a guy that I could, ask, if I had any questions was definitely Rico Jeffers, because he's, been here. He was here last year, and he's been in KP's defense. So, yeah, he was a guy that, I can just go to, ask questions if I need it, or, I could just go straight to KP or Coach Kaz as well. So, yeah.
Rico, what impresses you about him as a linebacker, just from what you've seen? Obviously, in the Big Ten, you've seen plenty of good linebackers. What impresses you about him?
I mean, Rico, he brings a leadership mentality. Like I say, he's a guy that you can look to. You can ask questions. So he's really good athlete, really good teammate, and that's what he is. He's a guy.
All right, we'll finish up with Don Williams.
Hey, Brendan, I was curious, what was your reaction last week when you heard the Big Ten decision not to play this year?
Well, I mean, I thought my first reaction was, man, that's crazy. And then my second one, I started thinking like, well, I guess I transferred on a good year. 'Cause,
Have you been in contact or texting with any of your former teammates about that?
Yeah, a couple. They wanted to play. The decision was really in their hands. But I mean, the majority of them, I know a lot of guys that wanted to play, and I kind of, those are my guys too. So still, it's a bummer that they.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, how do you think you would have reacted if you were still there and were told you wouldn't be playing football this year? How do you think you would have reacted?
I mean, I would have been upset, because personally, I want to, have a chance to, show what I'm, able to do. So, and also I know those guys did too. So with that aspect, it's kind of like, a bummer for everybody. But, you just got to do what you got to do sometimes.
All right.
How well do you think you developed in the time that you were at Michigan State? Since now you're an underclassman, what do you think where did you develop your game the most between the time you were in high school and the time that you came here?
Definitely the mental aspect of the game. Coming out of high school, I was just a really good athlete, all-state track guy, all state football. So when I really got to college, it was really getting the mental aspect of the game and understanding like X's and O's. And that's really how I've developed myself mainly, being at this level. That's where I've developed myself the most.